Hey guys, tonight we're heading back in time to the bustling streets of Constantinople. Picture this: the smell of salt water from the Bosporus, the murmur of voices fading into the thick, chilly air, and the soft sound of your boots tapping against cobblestones. You're about to embark on the graveyard shift of a Byzantine night watchman, and trust me, you probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I promise we'll make it through the night, together. Let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is where you are. Let's see just how far this late night shift stretches around the globe. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. It's dark, very dark, and you stand at the gates of Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire, a city that once commanded the world's attention, with walls so thick even a battering ram would tire out. But tonight, you're not admiring the city's grandeur. You're trudging down its deserted streets, torch in hand, your cloak wrapped tightly around you to fend off the night chill. The weight of the bronze whistle dangling from your neck is a reminder of your duty. You're here to watch, listen, and make sure nothing threatens the Empire's peace tonight. You step into the streets with an uneasy sense of quiet. The city that's buzzing with life in the day is now eerily still, save for the occasional rustle in the distance, a creak from a door, or the howl of a dog on the far edge of the city. The stone walls loom around you like silent sentinels, enclosing you in this nearly forgotten world. But of course, it's not really forgotten, is it? You've heard the rumors, the whispers of thieves, ghosts, rebels, and yes, the occasional political plot. It's part of your job to notice things most wouldn't, to know who's sneaking around, even if they think they're safe in the dark. The night watch was an important part of the Byzantine system, vigilant, quiet, and ever watchful. Every corner, every alley had its secrets, and it was your job to make sure no one was slipping around undetected. If you're lucky, your shift will pass quietly, but that's about as likely as finding a missing coin in the emperor's treasury. And as you pass by the great walls of the city, you might hear something strange, a faint sound from beyond. You stop, glance around, and there it is again. A distant noise echoing off the stone, but not quite right. It's not the usual shuffle of feet or the rattle of an animal. No, this one has a rhythm, a murmur almost. You pause, your heart speeding up. Could it be the rebels you've been warned about? Or is it something else? As you move closer, the sound fades. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just your imagination, playing tricks on you in the cold night. But still, you can't shake that feeling. A feeling that tonight, of all nights, something unusual might just happen. As you keep walking along the Theodosian walls, the cold air nips at your cheeks. The torchlight flickers as the wind picks up, casting strange shadows that dance like ancient spirits along the city's surface. You can almost hear the city's heartbeat, a slow rhythm of life that feels distant from you now. Constantinople, the city that never truly sleeps, seems peaceful tonight, but you know better. You're not supposed to be fooled by the calm. That's when things go wrong. In fact, you're reminded of the old saying that every watchman hears when he's inducted: the quietest nights are the most dangerous. A shiver runs down your spine, not from the cold, but from the weight of the words. You've seen enough in your years of service to know that things don't always stay quiet. There's always something lurking just beyond the safety of the city walls. Someone's always testing them, trying to find a way through. It's your job to keep an eye out for them. So, you pull your cloak tighter and move with purpose, your boots scraping against the cobblestones, each step deliberate. As you pass by a small, crooked alley, a strange sight catches your eye. There's a flicker of movement in the shadows, just outside the circle of your torch's light. You freeze. Is it a thief, or something worse? You've heard the rumors, stories of people who vanished in the night, never to be seen again, their fates lost to the ages. Some say they were taken by the city's defenders, others by forces darker than anyone dares admit. But the truth is far simpler, and far more unsettling. It's a cat, one of the many stray animals that roam the city at night. It's harmless enough, but it's enough to make your pulse quicken. You don't relax yet. After all, there's more to watch for than stray animals. Suddenly, you hear the familiar echo of footsteps coming from the far end of the street. You pause, pulling yourself into the shadow of an archway. In the distance, you can make out the silhouette of another night watchman. Not exactly a rarity in these parts, There's always a patrol making their rounds. But tonight, you feel a sense of unease you can't quite explain. Perhaps it's the exhaustion creeping into your limbs, or maybe it's the feeling of being constantly watched by unseen eyes, even when you're alone. Either way, you wait. Your hand instinctively grips the bronze whistle around your neck. The footsteps grow louder and you take a deep breath. It's just another watchman, another pair of tired eyes trudging along in the dark. He's too far to see clearly, but you catch a glimpse of his face. Tired, drawn, a little too worn out for comfort. You exchange a nod when he finally draws near, and he mutters something about strange noises near the harbor. You nod back, knowing exactly what he means. Strange noises are the least of your worries tonight. The harbor has been known for its oddities, the kind of things no one wants to talk about. Fishermen whisper about fish that glow under the moonlight, strange ships that appear without warning, and on occasion, the eerie sound of the wind carrying voices from across the water. The watchman barely waits for you to acknowledge him before continuing on his patrol. You take another breath, then turn back toward the wall. But now, you can't shake the thought of what he said. Oddities, things that make the skin on the back of your neck prickle. Remember that flickering sound from earlier? Could it be related? You shake your head to clear the thought. It's just the wind, just your tired mind playing tricks. But as you continue your walk along the wall, the weight of the night seems to grow heavier, as if the very stones are leaning in, watching you, waiting for you to make a mistake. Historians still argue whether or not the Byzantine night watchmen were actually able to prevent any real threats from getting inside the city. Some say it was just a matter of time before someone found a way in. Others claim the guards were an essential part of the city's security, preventing countless attacks. But if you're being honest, you can't help but wonder if they just served as a reminder that the city was always on the edge of something. Maybe it was never about stopping threats. It was about showing the citizens that someone was always watching, ready to act if needed. But as you round the corner of the wall, you can't shake the feeling that tonight might be different, that tonight you might finally learn what those strange sounds really are. As you continue along the wall, your footsteps echo louder in the silence. The cold night air bites at your skin, and the heavy cloak around your shoulders does little to keep the chill away. You tighten your grip on the torch, watching the flame flicker and sway in the breeze, casting long shadows against the towering stone walls. The city feels like a ghost town, empty streets, the occasional murmuring from the dark alleys. But there's a tension in the air, an invisible weight that you can't ignore. You come to a narrow street where a few of the smaller houses of the poorer citizens are nestled together, their windows shuttered tightly. These homes don't offer much in the way of warmth, and the only light in the area is the flickering lanterns hung along the street. You pause, knowing you'll need to check each one of them, listen for any unusual noises or movement. As you walk past the first house, you notice something strange. A faint sound is drifting through the narrow gaps between the wooden shutters. It's almost like a soft rhythmic tapping, too delicate to be footsteps, too regular to be the wind. You approach cautiously, your boots making no sound on the cobblestones. There's a strange allure to the rhythm. You can't help but lean in a little closer, straining your ears. The tapping grows louder, tap, 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 and then silence. You hold your breath. Your fingers twitch at the whistle on your belt. Could this be a signal? A code of some kind? Or perhaps it's something more mundane, a carpenter working late into the night, hammering away at some forgotten repair. You step away slowly, giving the house one last look. It could be nothing, but the strange pattern of the tapping nags at your mind as you move on. Now, you're well into the city's inner districts, where the buildings are more substantial, but just as shadowy. This part of the city has a reputation for quiet mischief. The higher-up officials and nobles may rest behind their heavy iron gates, but the workers and tradesmen, those who live on the fringes of Byzantine society, they've got their own secrets. The streets here are narrow and twist around like a labyrinth. It's the kind of place you don't want to be lost in after dark. You turn another corner and your eyes catch the silhouette of a nearby shop. The faintest glow of light slips from under its door. You stop for a moment. The shop's owner, a certain Nico, an older man known for selling woolen garments, is never awake at this hour. You've seen him every night on your patrols, always fast asleep by now, but tonight his door is cracked open, and that sliver of light. It's odd. Could he be working late? Maybe there's something in the shop you missed, something that explains the light. You can't just ignore it, not tonight. You approach the door slowly, cautiously, the flame of your torch dancing nervously with every step. The tapping rhythm you heard earlier still lingers in the back of your mind. Tap, tap, tap. You shake it off. It's probably just some stray cat chasing a rat, or the wind playing tricks on your ears. You push the door open just a crack, peering inside. What you see isn't much, just shelves, wooden crates, and piles of wool stacked high. But something is off. The air feels thick, like something's in the room with you, a sense of wrongness that you can't place. You take a step back, the door creaking ever so slightly as you try to ease it shut again. Then you hear a sound. It's not the rhythm you'd been listening for, but something else. Something much closer. A rustle of fabric, a soft shuffling sound. You freeze. You could have sworn you were alone in this part of the city, but now you're not so sure. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Is someone in the shop with you? You take a deep breath, pulling yourself together. You're a night watchman, not a frightened child. You raise your torch higher, trying to peer deeper into the shadows, searching for any movement. The rustling stops. And then, just as quickly as it started, it's over. The shop is silent once more. You slowly let out the breath you didn't realize you'd been holding and take another step back from the door. It seems the light was just a mistake after all. Maybe Nico left the lantern on by accident, or perhaps a stray draft made it flicker. Either way, you're no closer to solving the mystery of the night's oddities. But still, you can't shake the sense that you've missed something important. Historians still argue whether night watchmen during the Byzantine era were actually trained to deal with such supernatural occurrences, or if they were simply expected to keep an eye out for thieves and intruders. Some accounts suggest that strange happenings were often dismissed as mere superstition, while others claim they were an integral part of the duties of a watchman. Perhaps there's a lesson to be learned here, that sometimes it's better to let the oddities of the night remain unexplained. But for now, you push that thought aside. You've got a job to do. You move on, your torchlight flickering as you march down the next street. The city is still with you, but the strange rhythm in the air remains, waiting to be solved. As you continue through the winding streets, a certain unease settles over you. The rhythmic tapping you heard earlier still lingers in the back of your mind, like an annoying song you can't shake. You try to focus on the task at hand, keeping the peace, ensuring the city's safety, but your mind keeps drifting back to that odd sound. Was it just the wind, or something more? Something alive? You push the thought away as best as you can. Focus, you remind yourself. It's only another few hours before your shift is over. You can make it. The air feels colder now, and the streets seem even quieter, as if the whole city is holding its breath. Even the distant howl of the wind has disappeared, replaced by an eerie stillness that makes every step feel louder than it should. The flame of your torch flickers wildly, as if the wind itself is playing tricks on you. You glance around, searching for any sign of movement, but all you can see are the towering buildings, their stone facades gleaming under the light of your torch. Your heart pounds in your chest. You stand there for a moment, staring at the vacant street, trying to make sense of what just happened. It wasn't your imagination. You saw it. You know you saw it, but there's no trace of anyone, not even a footprint in the dust. You glance up at the night sky, searching for some explanation. The moon hangs high, casting a soft glow over the city, but it offers no answers. You know better than to chase shadows in the night, but still, that lingering feeling of being watched doesn't go away. You turn back toward the main road and keep moving, forcing yourself to put the strange encounter out of your mind. The next stretch of street is lined with tall buildings, their windows dark and shuttered. A few scattered lanterns cast pools of light along the way, but the shadows between them seem to stretch on forever. You pause for a moment, your torchlight flickering as you scan the area. This is a part of the city you don't visit often. Mostly traders and craftsmen live here, and the streets are usually quiet at this hour. But tonight, there's something different about it, something that doesn't sit right with you. Historians still argue about the role of the night watchmen in the Byzantine Empire. Some say they were the backbone of the city's security, holding the gates and walls against invaders, while others claim their presence was largely ceremonial, serving more as a symbol of the empire's power than an actual deterrent. But whatever their true role, you can't deny the sense of unease that comes with the job. You never know what you'll encounter in the dark hours of the night, whether it's a shadowy figure, a strange noise, or the inexplicable feeling that someone, is watching you. It's always a reminder that the city's safety isn't guaranteed. Your boots click against the stones as you continue down the street, your mind racing. The temperature is dropping, and the quiet is almost oppressive now. The silence seems to close in around you, broken only by the occasional creak of the buildings as they settle in the night. You're alone here, and that's not a comforting thought. Suddenly, a loud bang echoes through the street, followed by a series of hurried footsteps. You whirl around, your heart pounding. What is it now? A thief? A rebel? Or something else entirely? You squint into the shadows, but there's nothing there. Just a heavy, lingering silence. Your hand instinctively reaches for your whistle, ready to call for backup if needed, but the streets remain empty. The bang you heard could have been anything. A crate falling, a door slamming, or perhaps the wind shifting an old barrel. Yet it doesn't feel like just a random noise. The city's rhythm has shifted, everything feels off. Historians are divided on whether the night watchmen ever truly felt safe in their jobs. Some accounts claim that the uncertainty of their shifts only added to their sense of duty, making them even more vigilant. But others argue that the constant tension was just too much for many guards, driving some to abandon their posts or fall asleep on duty. There's no way to know for sure, but tonight, as you stand in the center of this strange, haunted city, you're starting to understand why. You take another deep breath and shake off the thought. There's no use in dwelling on the what-ifs of the night. You have a job to do, and though the quiet still feels heavy, you press on, determined to finish your shift, no matter how strange or unsettling the night becomes. You continue down the narrow street, but now there's a different feeling hanging in the air. The city, which once felt like a familiar labyrinth of stone and shadow, now seems almost alien, distant. The streets are darker than before, the shadows deeper, as if the night itself is closing in on you. The torch you hold in your hand sputters with every gust of wind, making it harder to see clearly. Yet you push forward, your steps purposeful. There's no turning back now. The silence that blankets the city is oppressive. Even the occasional rustle of wind has faded, leaving nothing but an almost unnatural stillness. It's the kind of silence that makes your ears ring, the kind that makes your mind fill in the gaps. You could swear you hear whispers at the edges of your consciousness, fleeting voices that dissolve when you try to focus on them. You shake your head, trying to clear the fog from your mind. This is just the effect of the long hours, of being alone with your thoughts too long. The mind can play tricks, you remind yourself. You round another corner, heading toward the city's central plaza. Normally, this area would be bustling, even in the dead of night, with traders from all corners of the empire coming and going. But tonight? Tonight, it's as empty as a ghost town. The square is eerily quiet, with only a few dim lanterns casting pools of light across the cobblestones. You can't help but feel it as though the city itself is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. But what? Suddenly, you hear the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing in the distance. You freeze, your senses alert. For a moment, you think it's just your own footsteps, reverberating through the empty square. But no, this is something different. Someone else is here, moving in the shadows, just beyond the reach of your torchlight. You grip your whistle tighter. It's time to investigate. You step forward cautiously, the sound of your boots muffled by the thick stone underfoot. The footsteps grow louder as you approach, but the figure remains elusive, slipping in and out of sight like a wraith. Your pulse quickens, your breath shallow. Is this another thief, or something more dangerous? The figure appears again, this time moving across the edge of your vision. You can't make out much, just a dark silhouette in the gloom. You move faster, your legs carrying you toward the figure with a sense of urgency. Just as you close the distance, the figure stops, frozen in the middle of the square. The air feels thicker now, heavier. You reach for your whistle, ready to call for reinforcements, but before you can raise it to your lips, the figure turns, slowly, deliberately, and when you catch sight of them, your heart stops. It's not a thief. It's not even human. The figure before you is an animal, a large one. Its fur is matted and wet, its eyes glinting in the torchlight with an eerie, almost predatory gleam. It's a creature you've never seen before. Tall, with long limbs and a hunched back, like a wolf but larger, more menacing. The hair on your arm stands up as it steps closer, its movements smooth and deliberate. This isn't an animal you want to encounter in the dead of night. You stand there, frozen in place, unable to move. The creature stops just a few paces from you, its breath heavy and ragged. It lets out a low growl, a sound that sends a chill down your spine. You've heard of strange beasts in the Empire's far-off corners, but this is something different, something unnatural. It regards you with an unsettling calmness, as if assessing whether you're a threat. The silence between you stretches on, and for a moment, time seems to stand still. Historians still debate whether the people of Byzantium were ever truly concerned with strange creatures in the night. Some suggest that tales of monsters were merely allegories to explain the unknown, while others believe that these creatures were real, lurking just beyond the edges of the empire, waiting for the unwary traveler. Was this one of those beasts, or was it something born from superstition and fear? You don't wait to find out. Instinct takes over. You turn and bolt, sprinting back the way you came, your heart pounding in your chest. Your torch bounces in your hand, the light casting erratic shadows as you race through the empty square. Behind you, you hear the sound of the creature's footsteps, heavier and faster than your own. But then, just as quickly as it all started, the sound stops. You don't dare look back. You push yourself harder, feeling your legs burn as you round the corner, desperately seeking the safety of the city's outer walls. You finally reach the gate. The watchmen standing guard look up in surprise as you approach, breathless and wide-eyed. But you can't speak, not yet. You just need a moment to catch your breath, to calm your nerves. You look back over your shoulder, but the plaza is empty once more. The creature, if it was ever there at all, is gone. It's as if the night swallowed it whole. But the chill that lingers in your bones, the sound of those heavy footsteps, it's hard to forget. As you take a moment to regain your composure, you wonder about the strange legend surrounding creatures of the night. Was that truly one of them? Or was it just another trick of the mind, a byproduct of too much solitude in the darkness? Either way, you're not eager to find out. You've caught your breath now, but the uneasy feeling hasn't left you. You stand there, leaning against the city gates, your hand still tightly gripping the whistle, and gaze out into the night. The silence that hangs over the street seems louder now, somehow more oppressive. It's almost as though the city itself is aware of the strange encounter you just had. You can't shake the feeling that someone, is watching you from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. You try to steady your mind, forcing yourself to focus on the job at hand. The city's safety is paramount, and there are still hours left in your shift. You can't afford to let your nerves get the better of you. But every time you close your eyes, the image of that creature reappears in your mind. Its glowing eyes, its predatory stance. The very thought of it sends a cold shiver down your spine. The guards at the gate give you a questioning look, but you say nothing. You don't want to sound like you've lost your mind. Who would believe you anyway? They would just think you were overtired, that your imagination had run wild. Besides, there's no time to dwell on it. You've got a job to do. You take a deep breath and straighten up, forcing yourself to appear calm. You nod at the guards, signaling them to continue their watch. You can't afford to be distracted by the bizarre encounter any longer. With your mind set on the task ahead, you start to make your way back through the city. The streets are still eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant clink of metal from somewhere far off. As you walk, the sound of your footsteps seems to echo off the stone walls, but you try to ignore it, focusing instead on the surroundings. Every corner, every alleyway seems to hold something just beyond the reach of your torchlight. You feel as though the walls are closing in, the night pressing in on you from all sides. You pass the same buildings you've walked by countless times, but tonight, they seem different. The stone seems colder, the shadows deeper, as if the city itself is holding its breath. You can't help but glance over your shoulder every now and then, just to be sure no one or nothing is following you. You approach the market square again, the one you passed earlier. The strange figure you saw there still lingers in your mind. Was it just your imagination? Was it the exhaustion? You wonder how many night watchmen have had similar experiences throughout history. After all, there are countless tales of strange creatures in the darkness, of things that lurk just beyond the edge of sight. You've heard the stories yourself, stories about shapeshifters, beasts that roam the night, and whispers of things that should not be. There, in the shadows of an alley, you see something that makes your heart race in an instant. It's not a thief, it's not a rebel, it's another creature, but this one is different, smaller, faster, and just as unsettling. It moves quickly, darting between the narrow spaces in the alley like a shadow in the dark. You can't quite make out its form, but you can see the glint of its eyes shining in the torchlight. You freeze. You should call for help. You should alert the guards, get reinforcements, but something in the back of your mind tells you it's too late for that. The creature, whatever it is, has already noticed you. It doesn't seem frightened. If anything, it seems curious, and the look in its eyes sends a chill down your spine. This is something different, something you can't explain. You slowly back away, every muscle in your body tense with fear, but the creature doesn't move, doesn't follow you. It just stands there, watching. It's as if it's studying you, gauging your every move. You've heard the tales before, stories of creatures that roam the dark corners of the world, of beasts that come out only at night, of things that are best left unseen. You've heard the legends, but you never truly believed them until now. With a final glance at the creature, you turn and retreat down the street, your heart pounding in your chest. The sound of your boots against the cobblestones is all you can hear now, and even that feels like too much noise in the silent night. Historians will never know the truth of what happened on nights like these. Whether the creatures were real or just figments of an overactive imagination, no one can say. But as you hurry through the city streets, one thing is clear. You'll never look at the darkness the same way again. The city's towering walls loom ahead, the familiar weathered stone a reminder that you're close to safety, at least in the literal sense. But your mind? It's still far from calm. You pause just before reaching the gate, the wind picking up and causing the distant sound of a dog barking to carry across the street. For a brief moment, you almost wish you could hear the hum of the market once again, the chatter of vendors and the rustle of bustling crowds, anything to break the silence that feels as heavy as a thick fog around you. You glance over your shoulder, but the street behind you is empty. The strange creature you saw earlier has vanished, leaving behind nothing but the lingering feeling of unease. You can't shake the sensation that someone was watching you, moving just out of sight. There's a subtle tension in your chest that refuses to fade. The watchmen at the gate greet you with a polite nod, but you can see the same exhaustion in their eyes that you feel creeping into your bones. The night shift wears on everyone in the city, whether you're patrolling the outer walls, keeping an eye on the gates, or performing the most mundane duties. It's the kind of tiredness that's hard to shake, especially when you're awake in the middle of the night, wondering if something might be creeping around just out of sight. You continue walking through the narrow passageway that leads toward the inner courtyard, but your steps aren't as sure now. Your muscles ache from the tension you've been carrying all night. The strange occurrences in the shadows, the creature lurking just beyond the reach of the torchlight, they're all playing on a loop in your mind. You've been a night watchman long enough to know that the mind can become a dangerous thing when it's deprived of sleep. Your hand brushes against the stone walls as you walk. The cool surface beneath your fingertips offers a strange comfort, a small sense of normalcy in the otherwise disquieting night. You pass a couple of fellow watchmen, nodding at them in passing, but there's a disconnect between you. It's as if you're in two different worlds, separated by an invisible barrier. They're still in the realm of routine, while your mind is still tangled up in the mystery of the night. The night watch was never supposed to be this strange. The work itself is simple enough. Guard the city, stay alert, report any disturbances, but something is different tonight. It's not just the absence of sound or the eerie quiet. It's the feeling that the city is no longer just a place you guard, but something that's watching you. You can't shake the thought that the walls have eyes, that the shadows have more than a passive role in this night's unfolding. As you make your way deeper into the courtyard, you pass by the old fountain. Its water, normally clear and gently bubbling, is still tonight. The silence around it seems even more pronounced as the wind dies down for a moment. You can hear nothing but your own breath, your own heartbeat in your ears. It's at that moment that you hear something again. A sound, faint but distinct, echoing through the courtyard. It's a scraping noise, not unlike the sound of claws dragging across stone. You freeze, your eyes scanning the darkness around you, trying to locate the source. You can't see anything, but your instincts are screaming at you that you're not alone. The air is thick now, heavy with the scent of damp stone and the rustle of leaves caught in the breeze. It's colder somehow than it was just moments ago. You're not sure if it's the weather or just your nerves getting the best of you, but you can't ignore the way the temperature has shifted. the way the air seems to hum with tension. Historians often note that the Byzantines had a particular sensitivity to their surroundings, especially at night. There was a deep belief in the presence of unseen forces, spirits, gods, and creatures that walked among them in the dark. Many of these tales were passed down through generations, but whether they were based on fact or folklore is still debated today. Some suggest that the Byzantine people had an uncanny awareness of their environment, a heightened sense that allowed them to perceive things beyond the obvious. Could the legends of creatures in the dark have been based on something real? Or were they just stories designed to keep the people vigilant? The more you walk these silent streets, the less certain you are of the answers. You reach the far side of the courtyard, where the large wooden doors to the main hall stand ajar. The light spilling from inside casts a long shadow across the stone, but there's something strange about it. The shadow seems off, distorted somehow, as though something is blocking the light from inside. You squint into the darkness, trying to make sense of it, but it's hard to focus. Suddenly, you hear a soft voice, a whisper, barely audible, coming from the open door. You freeze again. Your hand instinctively grips the whistle at your side, but you don't raise it just yet. The voice is faint, barely a murmur, but it carries a strange weight. It's a voice you don't recognize, one you've never heard before. "Stay away," the voice whispers. For a moment, the air seems to stand still, and you can feel the hairs on the back of your neck prickle with a cold dread. This is no time for imagination, you tell yourself. But as the whisper repeats, it's harder to deny the unnerving feeling creeping up your spine. With your heart pounding, you step closer to the door, cautiously peering inside. The hall is dimly lit, but you can make out the faint outlines of figures moving in the shadows. For a moment, you think you see a shape, a tall, hunched figure, but then it disappears, swallowed by the darkness. The whisper continues, "Stay away, stay away." You take another step forward, and the whisper grows louder, and then, just as quickly as it started, the sound cuts off completely. Silence. Cold, suffocating silence. Historians often claim that the boundaries between the physical world and the supernatural were blurred in the minds of those who lived in ancient cities like Byzantium. Spirits of the dead, divine beings, and even shape-shifting creatures were thought to walk the streets, their presence felt only by those attuned to the deeper mysteries of the world. You wonder, in this moment, whether those ancient beliefs weren't just myths, but warnings. The air in the courtyard grows heavier with each passing second. The whisper fades, but the unease lingers like a dense fog that refuses to lift. You stand at the entrance to the hall, half in the shadows, half bathed in the pale light spilling from within. The door, now slightly ajar, seems to beckon you forward, no longer offering the comforting embrace of safety, but instead pulling you into the unknown. You hesitate, your breath shallow in your chest. You could turn around, leave the hall behind, and head back to the gate, where everything is still, and possibly more familiar. Or you could step inside, face whatever's lingering in the dark, and hope you make it through unscathed. The choice seems trivial at first, but as you stand there, caught in the stillness, the weight of your decision presses down on you. Inside the hall, the shadows stretch long and sinister, like fingers that reach across the floor, clawing at the edges of your mind. You glance at the stone walls, adorned with faded tapestries, their images too worn to discern clearly. There's a sense of antiquity here, a weight of history that's almost tangible, as if the very walls have witnessed countless secrets and untold stories. You know that feeling all too well, the way ancient places can carry the residue of the past, the memory of things long gone. You take a step forward, pushing the door wider with a creak that echoes through the vast emptiness of the hall. As you do, a chill wraps around you, colder than the night outside, colder than the stone beneath your feet. The smell of dust and old wood fills the air, the scent of abandonment, the kind of place that feels forgotten, as though it were left behind intentionally, a relic of a past that no one dares to remember. It's then that you hear it again, the soft scrape of something moving across the stone floor, followed by a quiet hiss. You freeze, the hairs on the back of your neck standing tall. It's close now, not far behind the corner ahead, just out of sight. The air seems to thicken, wrapping itself around you like a cold, wet blanket. You have a sudden, overwhelming urge to run, to flee into the streets and never look back. But your legs feel heavy, your body rooted to the spot. Your mind screams at you to move, but your feet refuse to cooperate. Maybe it's the sheer curiosity, or maybe it's the same stubborn pride that's kept you on the shift despite the fear gnawing at your nerves. But something tells you that stepping back would mean giving up, and that's not a luxury you can afford right now. You push forward, your heart racing in your chest, each step feeling like it takes twice as long as the last. The scraping sound continues, but now there's a new element to it, like a low, guttural growl, followed by the faintest rustle of movement, something fast, something animal-like. You're no longer sure if it's your imagination or something real, but the feeling of being watched becomes unbearable. A flash of movement catches your eye. You turn just in time to see a figure dart across the hall, vanishing into the shadows. It's not a person. It's too quick, too fluid, its form not quite human. Your blood runs cold as your instincts scream that this is no ordinary thief, no rogue in the night. This is something else, something far more dangerous. You finally take a deep breath, summoning the courage to take a few more steps into the hall. The scrape of claws against stone grows louder now, closer still. It's unmistakable, and whatever it is, it's no longer hiding. Your mind races through every story you've heard, every myth passed down over the years. Could it be a creature of the dark, one of the things whispered about in taverns or around the fires? A shapeshifter, a guardian spirit, or even something far worse, a thing that hunts under the cover of night. Historians often debate whether these creatures were mere superstition or a real threat to the people of the past. But in this moment, standing alone in a darkened hall, you feel that age-old belief in your bones. As you move cautiously through the room, your senses are heightened. The floor creaks under your boots, the air thick with anticipation. You know that this is no ordinary patrol, no typical night. You can feel it in your gut. Whatever this is, it's not something you're meant to encounter. The figure reappears, this time closer, almost within arm's reach. It's tall, its silhouette barely discernible in the darkness, but its glowing eyes pierce through the gloom. You try to steady your breath, but your heart is hammering in your chest, each beat louder than the last. You feel a strange pull, an unspoken connection to the creature, as if it's beckoning you closer. A chill sweeps over you. The creature's eyes fixate on you, unblinking, as if assessing you, reading you. It takes a slow step forward, its movements deliberate, almost hypnotic. You can feel the tension in the air, the weight of something ancient and primal pressing in on you. Suddenly, a voice breaks the silence, a soft whisper like wind through the trees. "Do not be afraid," it says, its tone almost soothing. For a moment, you're unsure whether you've heard it aloud or in your mind. The creature continues to advance, its gaze unyielding. The hall feels colder, the shadows deeper. The sound of the creature's breath becomes louder, but still, it makes no move to harm you. It stands before you, an enigma wrapped in mystery. You find yourself rooted to the spot, unable to look away from those piercing eyes. You don't know whether to run or stay, whether this creature is a threat or something more than that, something older than the city itself. Historians still argue about these encounters. Some suggest that creatures like this were simply figments of collective imagination, born from the fear and superstition of the time. Others believe that these beings were manifestations of ancient powers, sent to guard or guide those who walk the darkened paths of the city. Whatever the truth may be, standing in this hall, you're no longer certain what is real and what is mere myth. The creature takes another step closer. Your breath catches in your throat. The air is so still now, the kind of stillness that wraps around you like a suffocating blanket. You can hear your own heartbeat, feel it pulsing in your throat, your chest. The creature's glowing eyes never leave yours, their light dimming and brightening in rhythmic intervals, as if syncing with your very pulse. You take a slow, shallow breath, and for a moment it feels like time itself has stretched to an uncomfortable, unending pause. You're aware of every sensation, the cold stone beneath your feet, the faint hum of the ancient city's distant heartbeat somewhere beyond these walls, the dry scent of aged wood. But most of all, you feel the weight of the creature's presence. It stands there, not threatening, but imposing, like an ancient guardian who has seen far too much over the years to be disturbed by anything as simple as fear. For a long moment, the silence holds. It's almost as though the two of you are suspended in this strange standoff, neither of you moving, neither of you making the first gesture. Then, without warning, the creature tilts its head slightly, and the softest rustling sound escapes from its throat. It's not a growl, not a hiss, but something almost like a sigh, deep and resonant, full of age and weariness. You're struck by how human that sound is. For a moment, it's easy to forget you're standing before something that could be anything but human. Maybe, just maybe, it's not the creature you should fear, but something else. A loneliness that stretches across centuries, a tiredness that doesn't belong to any one life. You wonder what the creature has seen in its long existence. How many souls have walked this path before you? Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the creature takes another step forward. It moves with a fluidity that shouldn't be possible in a being that large, its movements graceful and deliberate. You instinctively step back, your muscles tensing in readiness to flee, but something stops you. It's not fear that holds you in place, it's curiosity. It's a strange pull to understand what this thing is, what it wants and why it's here, standing in the heart of this forgotten hall. As it comes closer, the creature raises its arm, long, thin, and covered in what looks like scales, and extends it toward you. Its fingers, long and clawed, hover just inches from your face. You want to pull back, to evade, but you can't move. It's as if your feet are stuck to the ground, unwilling to leave, unwilling to retreat into the safety of the known. The creature's touch is cold, but not unpleasant. It's not the harsh bite of the cold winter air, but the coolness of something ancient, something not of this world. The creature, standing silently before you, seems to wait. The stillness stretches on, and you realize that you've made your choice. The path before you is uncertain, but for the first time tonight, the weight of indecision lifts. If only for a moment, you take a step forward, and another. The creature's eyes flicker with something that might be recognition, or perhaps just the barest hint of approval. You don't know what comes next, but you know this. Whatever this creature represents, whatever it is, it's not something you can outrun. Not tonight. As you step deeper into the hall, you realize something else too. The city, with all its ancient walls, its long history, its many lives, is full of secrets. You've only just begun to scratch the surface, and for some reason, you feel ready to uncover them all. With each step you take deeper into the hall, a strange sense of calm washes over you, as if the creature's presence is not a threat, but a guide, perhaps an ancient sentinel, part of a larger forgotten history that this city has quietly hoarded for centuries. It's an unsettling calm, though, the kind that wraps around you like the slow, inevitable onset of sleep. Soft, enveloping, but still too conscious of the darkness at its edges. The hall stretches endlessly ahead, its stone floor worn smooth by the passage of time. Every sound you make seems amplified, your boots scraping gently against the ancient stones, your breath a little too loud in the thick quiet of the room. And yet, despite all the noise of your own existence, the atmosphere feels almost unbearably still. It's the kind of stillness that can drive a person mad if they linger in it too long. A place so silent it feels as if even the air itself holds its breath, waiting for something to happen, or perhaps just for someone to acknowledge it. And yet, the creature remains as it was, silent, motionless, its gaze never wavering. There's a curiosity in its eyes, but also something more, something ancient and unknowable, as though it's been waiting for you, waiting for this moment. Historians have long debated whether such creatures were always a part of these cities, hidden guardians of the past, or if they were mere legends, tales spun by those who lived on the edges of truth and myth. Perhaps you think it doesn't matter. Perhaps this is a place where myths come alive, where history and the present blur together in a strange, timeless dance. As you walk forward, you can't help but wonder what will happen next. Will the creature speak again? Will it guide you through the city's hidden secrets, showing you the forgotten paths that once held power? Or is it merely observing you, waiting for you to make a mistake, to falter? One thing is certain, the creature is not here to harm you, not directly at least. It hasn't done anything to make you fear it, but every part of your being is still tingling with the sensation of being watched, monitored, as if this hall and its ancient walls know far more about you than you're willing to admit. There's a subtle shift in the air now, and you pause mid-step, feeling the change ripple through the space around you. You glance back at the entrance, far behind you now, the door almost lost in the shadows. The city beyond feels so distant now, so far removed from this strange moment in time. This meeting with something that shouldn't exist, and yet here it stands. The city has always been filled with its ghosts and legends, but this feels different. This feels like the kind of history that doesn't leave, the kind that embeds itself in the very stones, in the very air, until it becomes a part of the city itself. The creature, still motionless, now tilts its head slightly, as if acknowledging your thoughts. You're not sure if it's reading your mind or simply reacting to the tension in your posture, but something about its gaze shifts. There's a flicker in those eyes, almost imperceptible, but it's there. A sign of recognition? You can't tell, but you do feel something change. You take another step forward, your instincts now guiding you more than your conscious mind. The quiet rustle of the creature's scales against the stone seems to follow your movements, as if it's silently mirroring you. You pause again, looking down at the floor, and that's when you realize something strange. The stone beneath your feet isn't smooth as you thought. It's covered in faint etchings, so worn and faded that they're nearly impossible to discern. The designs shift and change with each step as though they're alive, bending and curving in the shadows. Ancient symbols, patterns. You can't make sense of them, but there's something oddly familiar about them, like a puzzle waiting to be solved, but one that your mind isn't quite ready to piece together. You bend down slightly, running your fingers over the cool surface of the stone. The etchings are deep, worn by centuries of wear and tear, but still legible in places. As you touch the symbols, a shiver runs through your spine. It's not cold, not exactly. It's a deeper, more unsettling sensation, like the touch of something far older than you, something that existed before even the stones of this hall were laid down. Historians still debate what these markings could mean. Some suggest they are old runes, some form of ancient script, long lost to time. Others believe they were meant as warnings, symbols carved by those who once walked these halls to protect themselves from whatever was lurking in the dark. The fact that these markings are still here, hidden beneath centuries of dust and neglect, suggests that someone at some point thought they were important. But why? What was it that they were trying to protect? You straighten up, your hand lingering on the markings for a moment longer than necessary. A part of you wonders if you're meant to decipher them, if the creature is waiting for you to understand. But there's no time to linger on that thought, for the creature suddenly shifts, its long limbs moving with startling speed. It steps forward, its eyes never leaving yours, and its voice, low but unmistakably clear, breaks the silence once again. You have come far, it says, its words strange, yet somehow comforting. But there is more for you to learn. If you wish to see what lies beyond this hall, you must first understand the history that binds us all. The creature's voice is not what you expected. It's not harsh or commanding, but gentle, almost inviting. And yet, beneath its calm exterior, there's a certain weight to the words, a seriousness that you can't ignore. The creature's gaze holds yours, and in that moment, you realize that you are no longer simply a spectator in this ancient story. You've become a part of it, and whatever path lies ahead, it will change you. But whether for better or worse, that you cannot yet say. The creature's words linger in the air, heavy and tangible. The city's cold silence returns in full force, and for a moment, you wonder if the creature's presence is all in your mind. Perhaps it's just the exhaustion of the night playing tricks on you. But no, its eyes, glowing faintly in the darkness, remind you that this is no trick. This is no dream. This is something real, something ancient. As you stand there, you realize that every sound you make, every slight shift of your weight, every breath you take, feels amplified in this room. Even the faintest movement seems to echo endlessly, like a whisper carried across centuries. You can almost hear the history of this place, pressed into the stone, woven into the very fabric of the air. The weight of the city's past is almost tangible now, as if the buildings themselves are holding their breath, waiting for you to unlock their secrets. The creature's gaze never wavers. Its head is slightly tilted as if it's waiting for something. You don't know what it expects, but you feel as if it's giving you a choice, a moment to decide what happens next. You could turn back. You could walk away from this place, from this strange meeting, and return to the streets of the city where the world is less surreal, less ancient, But something deep inside you resists that urge. This place, this hall, this creature, it all calls to you in a way you can't ignore. You take a step forward, tentative at first, and the creature's eyes flicker, almost as if acknowledging your decision. The air around you feels thicker now, like you're crossing into another layer of reality. The walls of the hall seem to grow taller, more imposing, and the shadows cast by the creature stretch unnaturally long. Yet there's a calmness too, a quiet reassurance, like the ancient stones themselves are guiding you forward. As you walk deeper into the hall, you begin to notice the faint glow of more symbols etched into the walls. Unlike the ones you saw earlier on the floor, these markings seem more deliberate, more intricate. Some are curved, others sharp, some resembling animals, others more abstract, almost like maps of constellations. It's as though the entire room is a living, breathing artifact, a tapestry woven together by countless generations, each contributing their mark to the story of this place. You find yourself drawn to one particularly large symbol, a spiraling design that seems to pulse with a faint light. It's almost hypnotic, the way it shifts and changes as you gaze at it. The creature, sensing your interest, steps closer, its movements smooth and fluid, as if it's not bound by the same limitations as you. It points at the symbol with one long, clawed finger, its eyes narrowing in a way that suggests it's waiting for you to understand something you haven't yet grasped. Historians still debate the significance of these symbols. Some believe they were part of an ancient system of navigation, a guide for those who wandered the dark corners of the world. Others think they were tied to the city's spiritual practices, a means of connecting with the divine or with forces beyond the physical realm. Still, some argue that these markings were simply decorative, the work of artisans who wished to leave their mark on the world. But you know, deep down, that the truth is more complicated than any theory could suggest. These symbols are a language that only the truly attuned can read. You find yourself almost entranced by the spiral, its lines flowing in a way that seems to resonate with something deep within you. You don't understand it, not fully, but there's something familiar about it, something that calls to a part of you that's long been buried. It's as if you've seen this symbol before, in a dream, or perhaps in the distant past, but you can't quite place it. The creature watches you closely, its gaze steady and patient. You wonder what it sees in you. What does it want you to understand? Is it simply guiding you, or is there a deeper purpose to this encounter? Something you're meant to learn? You feel a strange pull towards the spiral. There's a temptation to trace the lines with your fingers, to commit them to memory in some way that feels vital, as though understanding this symbol will unlock something, a hidden truth, a revelation about this place, about the creature, or even about yourself. But as your hand hovers just above the wall, the creature makes a soft noise, a low, almost imperceptible sound, like a warning. You pull your hand back, surprised at how quickly the urge fades, replaced by a sense of caution. Whatever this symbol represents, whatever it holds, it's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to rush. Historians still argue over the purpose of these spirals. Some insist that they are a form of ancient map-making, guiding travelers to hidden places of power. Others speculate that they are a form of cosmic knowledge, a way of unlocking the universe's deepest secrets. Whatever they are, one thing is clear: they are not meant to be trifled with. You take a deep breath, stepping back from the symbol. The air seems to shift around you, as if the room itself is acknowledging your decision. The creature, silent as always, watches you carefully, its eyes reflecting the faint light of the symbols that surround you. And for a moment, you feel something else, a quiet sense of understanding. This creature, this place, this moment, they are all part of a story that stretches far beyond your understanding. But that's okay. Some stories are meant to be discovered slowly, piece by piece, and some answers are meant to come in time. As you turn away from the symbol, you know that you're not leaving this hall unchanged. Whatever lies ahead, whatever the creature intends to show you, it will be something that will stay with you forever. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point of all of this, to see the world in a way you never could before, to feel the weight of history pressing in, not as a burden, but as a guide. You take another step forward, ready for what comes next, knowing that the city's ancient secrets are now yours to uncover. The hall stretches endlessly before you, each step forward, making the shadows feel deeper, heavier. The further you go, the more you sense the weight of the city pressing in around you. It's not just the walls or the stone underfoot, it's the air itself, thick with the ancient presence of forgotten generations. The city feels alive in ways that you can't quite explain. Each stone, each symbol etched into the walls seems to pulse with an energy you can almost feel in your bones. You've crossed a threshold now. There's no turning back. The creature follows, its movements deliberate and unnervingly silent. Despite its massive size, it glides through the hall like a shadow, never making a sound except for the occasional rustle of its scales. You wonder how long it's been here, guarding these secrets. How many others have come before you, only to be swallowed by the city's ancient embrace. It's a humbling thought, the realization that you're just one small part of a story that stretches back so much further than your own lifetime. And yet, the creature feels strangely familiar. It's almost as if it's guiding you, not out of duty, but out of a deeper purpose, one that you're only beginning to understand. Every step it takes seems calculated, precise, as though it's leading you to something, but what, you don't know yet. And that uncertainty gnaws at you, but it's a manageable kind of fear, the kind that exists in the space between curiosity and the unknown, the kind of fear that keeps you moving forward. As you continue down the hall, you begin to notice that the walls are changing. The symbols you saw earlier have become more abstract, almost like waves or ripples in the air. The more you look, the more the lines seem to shift, as if they're alive and reacting to your presence. You find yourself captivated by them, as though they are trying to tell you something, but their meaning is just beyond your grasp. They don't make any sense, not in the way you're used to thinking about things. They're not like written language, not like anything you've ever seen before. It's almost as if the markings are moving in response to your thoughts, changing just as your mind shifts. The creature doesn't seem to mind. It doesn't stop to explain, nor does it need to. Instead, it continues forward, its gaze never wavering. Its silence speaks louder than any words ever could. And you realize then that this journey isn't about understanding everything. It's about experiencing it, about moving through time and space in a way that defies explanation. There are no answers here, not yet, only questions. Historians, too, are divided on the meaning of these changing symbols. Some suggest they were part of an ancient ritual, a way of marking time or perhaps navigating through the unseen world. Others believe they were some form of art, created by a civilization whose methods and beliefs are entirely lost to history. Still, others wonder if these symbols have some connection to the city's long-lost gods, a way of communicating with beings that no longer walk the earth. Whatever the truth, you're starting to feel a connection to these markings, a sense that somehow they're tied to you, to your journey. You look down at your feet at the stone beneath you, which now seems more worn than before. The light, if you can even call it that, seems to grow dimmer as you go deeper. The creature continues ahead, its form barely discernible in the growing shadows. It's as if the world is becoming more distant, more otherworldly. The air thickens, almost as though it's made of something tangible, something you could touch and shape. Despite the creeping unease that tightens around your chest, a part of you feels strangely safe here. The creature's presence is constant but not oppressive. It feels like you've known it forever, or perhaps like it's always been a part of you, waiting for this moment to arrive. Its silence is comforting in a way that words can't match. You find yourself relying on it, trusting in the way it moves through this darkened labyrinth as though it's been here 1,000 times before. And then, just as you begin to wonder if this journey will ever end, the hall begins to narrow. The stone walls close in, forcing you to move closer to the creature. The ceiling above seems to lower as well, the space growing tighter and more confined. You feel a slight pressure in your chest, the air feeling heavier, as if something is watching you from every angle. The soft rustling of the creature's scales becomes more pronounced in the growing stillness, a constant reminder that you're not alone here, that you never were. As the passage becomes more cramped, you feel your sense of time slip away. It's as if the concept of day and night no longer applies. In here, there is only the passage of moments, marked by your steady footfalls and the ever-present creature beside you. There's no telling how long you've been walking, how far you've gone, or how much further you have to go. Everything feels suspended, frozen in time, and you wonder if this is what it feels like to be a part of history. Not just to observe it, but to live it. To exist in a space that belongs neither to the past nor the present, but to both at once. The creature suddenly stops, its body tensing. You freeze in place, your breath catching in your throat. For the first time, You feel the weight of its presence in a new way. It's not just a guide anymore, it's something more. You've crossed a threshold and you don't know what lies beyond it, but you can feel it now. Whatever happens next, you'll be forever changed by this place. The creature's eyes lock with yours, and for the first time, it seems to speak. This time, not with words, but with a look, a silent communication that you can feel in your very bones. Historians still debate whether the creatures of the old cities were ever truly sentient, or if they were simply the products of myth and legend. But in this moment, as you stand in the dark with the creature watching you, you feel as though you've stepped into something much larger than yourself, something ancient, something eternal. A sudden, overwhelming stillness fills the narrow corridor, and the creature's motionless form looms even larger. It's as if time itself has stopped, as though the universe is holding its breath, waiting for you to take the next step. There is no sound, no rustling of air, no distant echoes, just the faint ethereal glow from the walls illuminating the creature's eyes, those unblinking, knowing eyes. The pressure in the air builds around you, and for a moment you feel like you're in a dream, a world where the ordinary rules of space and time no longer apply. Your heart beats steadily, but it feels out of place, as though it's echoing in the quiet emptiness that surrounds you. It's as though the creature is waiting for you to understand something important, but you can't quite grasp it. You find yourself looking at the walls again. The markings that once seemed so intricate now seem to shimmer in a way that feels deliberate. The symbols begin to shift, their lines flowing like a current, wrapping around you, pulling you into their ancient rhythm. It's almost as though the entire hall is alive, as though it's watching you, responding to your every thought. The air seems to thrum with the pulse of the city's long-forgotten secrets, waiting for you to unlock them. But the creature doesn't move. It stands still, watching you with those glowing eyes, unwavering. You wonder briefly if it knows something you don't, if it's waiting for you to do something that will make sense of the symbols, something that will give you access to whatever lies hidden in this city's heart. The silence feels like it's becoming too much to bear, and you're about to speak, to break it with some useless question or comment, when you hear a soft whisper, so faint it could easily be your imagination. The sound seems to vibrate in the air, almost like a vibration in your bones. You freeze, listening carefully, but the noise is gone as quickly as it came. Historians still argue whether the city itself had a consciousness, whether it was alive in some way, bound by rituals, magic, or the forgotten power of its people. Some believe the city's builders may have been attempting to communicate with the land itself, whether to protect it or to tap into some ancient force. But there's no agreement on what that force was. You begin to wonder if this creature, this silent guide, is more than just a guardian. Maybe it's the city's living memory, a keeper of all that was and all that could have been. Your mind spins, caught between the awe of the moment and the overwhelming silence that presses in on you. You take another cautious step forward. The creature, as though sensing your decision, shifts slightly, its body turning just enough to guide you further down the corridor. You follow, your steps slow and deliberate, each one taking you deeper into the heart of this place. The walls narrow even more, and the air thickens with the scent of something ancient and musty, like the air of a forgotten temple or a library filled with the dust of millennia. It smells like history itself. You notice something else as you continue to walk. The temperature in the hall seems to drop. It's subtle at first, just a slight chill, but it grows more noticeable with each step. Your breath becomes visible in the air, misting out in tiny clouds. You feel a shiver race down your spine, but it's not just from the cold. It's something deeper, a sensation that comes from being in a place where time has stopped moving, where everything feels frozen in place. The creature moves ahead, never slowing down, its pace steady and unhurried. You try to follow its lead, but it feels more and more like you're walking in a dream. A strange, unsettling dream where the laws of reality bend and warp around you. The narrow corridor seems endless, stretching forward in a way that feels impossible. You wonder how much farther you'll have to go, how much more of this city's mysteries you will uncover. And then, just as you're beginning to think you've reached the limit of what this place can offer, the hall opens up, widening into a cavernous space. The sudden change in scale is overwhelming. The ceiling rises high above you, disappearing into darkness, while the walls stretch outward, massive and imposing. You can't see the far end of the room, it's lost in shadow, but what you do see is enough to take your breath away. In the center of the vast chamber is an altar, ancient and weathered, yet somehow still intact. It's surrounded by more of the glowing symbols you've seen before, now arranged in a pattern that almost looks like a map of the stars, or perhaps of some lost kingdom. The altar itself is carved from stone, its surface covered in intricate designs, many of them worn smooth by the passage of time. Atop the altar rests a single, perfectly round stone, a deep, iridescent blue, almost like a sapphire. The stone is the only thing in the room that seems to shimmer with life. It catches the faint glow from the symbols around you, sending ripples of light across the walls. The creature finally stops. It stands at the edge of the altar, its gaze shifting between you and the stone. You can feel the weight of its stare, the unspoken meaning behind it. This is the moment. This is what it has been guiding you toward. You take a step closer to the stone, your heart pounding in your chest. The room seems to hold its breath, as though it too is waiting for you to make your choice. The stone beckons you like a magnet, drawing you closer with an irresistible pull, its deep blue surface almost pulsating as if alive. You feel its presence in your chest, that quiet hum of energy that you can't explain but can't ignore. The air grows colder still, a chill seeping into your bones as though the room itself is holding its breath. You stand at the edge of the altar, the creature silent at your side, and you wonder if this is the point where everything changes. There's no turning back now. The weight of the moment hangs heavy in the air, and you realize that you've crossed a line. This isn't just about discovering ancient secrets. It's about stepping into a story that has been waiting for someone to finish it, to understand it. Maybe that someone is you. The thought of it fills you with a mix of awe and trepidation. You've never felt so aware of your own smallness, yet at the same time, there's a strange sense of belonging here, as if you were meant to be in this very place at this very time. Historians often debate whether the stone was meant to be touched or merely observed from afar. Some say that it held a power so great that to interact with it would mean unleashing forces beyond comprehension. Others believe that it was a test, an offering to whoever was worthy enough to reach it. The debate rages on, with no consensus. And now, as you stand before it, you feel the weight of that debate pressing down on you. Should you touch it? What would happen if you did? The creature at your side shifts, its massive form seemingly aware of your hesitation. It glances at the stone, then back at you, and for the first time, its eyes soften, almost as if giving you permission. It's a momentary glance, just long enough for you to catch it, but it feels like an invitation, a signal, something that tells you it's time to make a decision. You reach out. The stone is smooth under your fingers, cool to the touch, but there's an undeniable warmth that begins to radiate from it. The moment your skin meets the surface, the room seems to come alive. The walls, which had been silent until now, begin to hum, low and steady at first, but gradually growing louder. The symbols on the walls pulse in rhythm with the sound, their lines shifting again, their meaning becoming clearer, more defined. The room begins to shift. The walls around you seem to bend and twist, the symbols now floating above you, suspended in the air like fireflies. The stone in your hand grows warmer, and the energy around you feels electric. A deep, resonant sound fills the space, and for a fleeting moment, it feels as though the very earth is responding to your touch. The stone hums louder, as if acknowledging your presence, as if acknowledging that you are part of the story now. You pull your hand away, heart racing, but the humming continues. It feels like the stone has left a mark on you, a connection that won't be easily forgotten. You glance back at the creature, unsure of what to do next, but it remains still, its eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. It seems to be waiting for you to make sense of what just happened, but there are no easy answers. The stone itself, however, remains as it was. Silent, still, its glowing light steady. The air in the room grows warmer now, the chill fading into something more comforting. The shift is subtle, but it's there. The room is no longer a place of cold, silent mystery. It feels almost inviting now, as though you're being welcomed into a space that has been waiting for you. The creature steps forward, its movement almost imperceptible, and you follow its lead. The air seems to shift with each step you take, the warmth from the stone lingering in your mind like an echo. You glance around, noticing that the symbols on the walls have changed once again. They're no longer just abstract markings. They have taken on a new form, a new meaning. It's as if the room itself is guiding you now, telling you where to go next. You continue forward, the creature by your side, and as you move deeper into the chamber, you feel a sense of peace settle over you. The uncertainty, the fear that had gripped you earlier, begins to fade. It's replaced by a quiet understanding, one that you can't fully explain, but that feels entirely right. Historians may never know what exactly the stone was or what it meant, but you do, and in this moment, that's enough. The chamber stretches out before you, and the sense of peace you've been carrying now deepens, like the weight of soft velvet falling over your shoulders. It's strange, this calm, but you've earned it, whether you are aware of it or not. The creature moves beside you, its form cast in the soft glow of the symbols, which now seem to pulse with life in time to your heartbeat. The stone's energy lingers within you, not overwhelming, but persistent, like a whisper you can't quite shake. You look around and the room begins to change, not in a jarring way, but slowly, as if the very air is rearranging itself to match your thoughts. The walls seem to close in around you, but not threateningly, more like a gentle embrace, guiding you forward, deeper into this world. The altar, once stark and intimidating, now feels like a peaceful altar of reflection, not of rituals, but of choices made and steps taken. You pause for a moment, your fingers grazing the stone one last time, and you feel the connection deepen, as though the stone itself is acknowledging the conclusion of your journey here. The creature finally speaks, though it's not in words, not in any language you can truly comprehend. Instead, it's a shift in the atmosphere, a softening in the air that carries an unspoken message. You understand now. It has guided you not just through the city's labyrinthine corridors, but through the puzzle of its history. This place, this stone, the ancient symbols, all of it was part of something much greater, something that could never be fully understood, only felt. And now, you've felt it. The soft hum that has filled the space with a quiet resonance begins to fade, and the symbols on the wall slowly start to dim, their pulse growing fainter with each passing second. The stone cools in your hand, its warmth now a distant memory, but still, you carry it with you, not physically, but in the deep corners of your mind, in the place where all the quiet mysteries of the world lie. As the room settles into silence once again, you turn away from the altar, knowing that the creature will guide you back. There's no need to speak, no need for words. You simply follow, the energy of the stone still warm within you, a steady reminder that you have witnessed something remarkable. As you retrace your steps through the labyrinth, the air becomes lighter. The oppressive weight has lifted, and with it, the feeling of time stretching out endlessly has faded. The world around you is no longer a maze of uncertainty. It feels simple now, peaceful. Historians, when they find the remnants of this place, will wonder what happened here. They'll search for explanations and theories, but none will come close to the truth. The truth isn't in the stone or the creatures or the ancient markings. It's in the quiet of the journey. And now, as you walk away from the city, you understand that fully. As you exit the final corridor, the creature's form fading into the darkness behind you, the world outside feels brighter, softer. You've stepped into the light, carrying with you the essence of a place that will remain with you always, a place of mystery, of history, of magic. You realize that the city's legacy doesn't live in the ruins, in the forgotten stones or lost chambers. Its legacy lives in you, the memory of the stone, the pulse of the walls, the hum of the earth beneath your feet. All of it is part of you now. And as you step back into the world, you carry with you not just a piece of history, but a quiet reminder of the magic that still exists, just beyond the veil of the ordinary. Now, dim the lights, let the warmth of the room envelop you, like the stone's gentle hum. As you drift off to sleep, carry with you the quiet peace of the city's ancient, timeless story. Let it guide you through your dreams, a journey that will never truly end. Sweet dreams.